flavor-appropriate cheeses. And I plugged in the Bartesian.
Bartesian?
It's a home cocktail maker that makes over 60 premium cocktails, plus a whole lot of seasonal favorites, too. I just got it for 50 off. So, how about a Cosmopolitan or a mistletoe margarita?
I'm thirsty.
Watch. I just pop in a capsule, choose my strength, and...
Wow. It's beginning to feel more seasonal in here already.
If your holiday party doesn't have a bartender, then you become the bartender. Unless you've got a Bartesian, because Bartesian crafts every cocktail perfectly in as little as 30 seconds. And I just got it for $50 off.
'Tis the season to be jollier.
Add some holiday flavor to every celebration with the sleek, sophisticated home cocktail maker, Bartesian. Get $50 off any cocktail maker at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Immerse yourself in a world of over 1 billion vibrant colors with Vizio's Quantum QLED TVs. No matter where you're sitting, everyone gets the perfect view thanks to wide viewing angle. Enjoy truly immersive gameplay with 120 FPS at 1080p. You can even stream your favorite songs with the iHeartRadio app, ready to go on every Vizio Quantum TV. From movie nights to gaming marathons, the Vizio Quantum TV delivers unparalleled performance in picture. Head to Walmart to find your Vizio Quantum TV today.
Check out the show's Facebook page at Stansberry Show. Rock 1069. Welcome to Tuesday morning here on the Stansberry Show. We're online for you, that at WRQK.com. If you missed Monday's program, podcast of that show right there for you. And anything you may have missed last week, last month, last year. This is our last week of this year. You know, by the way, I kind of feel like I was right on something. I said a couple of years ago, oh, you think it's bad now? Just wait. The aftermath of these things always feels worse than when we're actually going through it. There have been some predictions out of this microphone about how, don't worry, man, these evil CEOs are going to come back for this money. They're going to come back for their money. You can shut the economy down now if you want. If that makes you feel better about gams, fine, do it. They're going to come back after the cash. They have. That's been a thing. This year, here's the point to tell you all this is to say this. Not to tell you how right I am. To tell you that I think I'm ready to put 2024 in the rear view mirror. Right? Now, I say that, but is 2025 going to be any better? I mean, I have no idea. And by that, I mean, probably not. We'll take a look at Johnny Manziel this morning. We'll have to do that. Former NFL quarterback, former Browns quarterback, is dating a young woman of prominence, and they're out there influencing. They've done this with a photo in the shower that is not sex-related. It looks sex-related. It feels sex-related. Everybody in the comments is talking about how this might as well be sex-related, yet these are the only two people on the planet that didn't understand the reaction they were going to get here. I sent this photo to a woman I know yesterday, and I said, this photo is real, and they're not having sex. She wrote right back immediately. She's like, wait, hold on. They're not having sex in this photo? And I said, no. No. The whole point, honestly, the photo's so crazy, I thought it was fake. We'll take a look at Johnny Manziel. We will spend part of our 9 o'clock hour doing that. Oh, my God. You know what we might have to talk about in that conversation? Deshaun Watson. Apparently, Deshaun Watson's out there on vacation. He was seen eating some pasta with the better half in front of the ocean, whatever, looked like on a yacht, whatever the hell the thing is. And people have lost their minds. And I got to be honest with you, I don't love it. Now, this is who Deshaun Watson is. We've known this for a while. And yes, other guys around the league who are hurt are with their teams, are at the games, and this and that, and this is what this guy's out there doing. I've said, he's earned a lot of the fans being angry with him. Like, fans look the other way on a lot of things. And then, which is, I mean, you could have a conversation about sports fans on this right here. What was a bridge too far for them was looking like you don't give a damn about what's happening. And it doesn't look like because he doesn't give a damn about what is happening here. And if I'm the Cleveland Browns, that's what I show him next time when I tell him I'm sticking with James. Because the rumors are, dude, they moved off of Flacco because Deshaun didn't like how popular he was. Well, now Jameis has become that popular. And we're trying to tell Jimmy Haslam, somebody better get him this podcast. Somebody better tell him before it's too late to figure it out. James, we're all going to be more popular than Deshaun Watson. Like, you can't be scared to keep a guy because he's going to be more popular. The nacho guy is more popular. It's time now. Pick a guy, whether it's Jameis or not. I don't know. But pick somebody, stick it out and ride it out. Because, like, here we go again now. Like, this guy, I mean, dude, the tone, like, the lack of self-awareness in this man. Or maybe it's so much self-awareness, he's flat out telling you, I don't give a damn. You were dumb enough to give me the money, you dopes. Like, this is what I'm doing. I mean, there's a Jamarcus Russell aspect to Deshaun Watson. And now he's coming off another injury, and, like, look, he's a little too Kawhi Leonard. We know that about Deshaun. Well, I mean, most guys would play at 85%, but, like, I'm going to wait till I'm 115, right? And, like, there's a little bit of that with him. Fans upset about some photos and some videos going around on social media about their starting quarterback. I understand it. I get that people are rich. I saw some other my media brethren going, he's rich, this is what rich people do. Right. Plenty of rich quarterbacks go, I can't do this right now. I got to wait till the offseason to do it. Right now, I got to get to this game, sit there in my sweats, and make it look like I am with my team. For some reason, he doesn't have to do that. Strange. We'll get there coming up at 9 o'clock. Also, like I said, take a look at Johnny Manziel's life. I feel like that one's a little strange. Yesterday, talked a little about Jay-Z. He's now, I said, well, I'm at least interested in this heavy-handed defense of himself. He was heavy-handed in that defense. He's now come over top of that heavy-handed defense of himself and has said something else. I'm like, geez, this guy's really out to try to at least convince us. I don't know, prove, but he's out to convince us he had nothing to do with any of this. People are pointing out, though, it's, well, a little tough, dude. One of your best friends was R. Kelly. You did a couple albums with him in a tour. One of your best friends is Diddy. Hung out with him plenty. And, dude, more than close enough with Harvey Weinstein. I mean, birds of a feather, they normally be flocking together, right? And so, like, we'll figure that out. Jay-Z now coming over top of the statement yesterday, asking for something else. This is a little bonkers here. We'll get to that coming up at 8 o'clock. Now, we all know what the story of the day is. It's Luigi Angeloni, the United Healthcare CEO, murderer is what we are going to call him. Because, well, if he's the person who actually pulled the trigger, that's what they are, a murderer. Now, that can be tough to figure out in today's society, right? Because of all the celebrating we have of this man, which I've been rallying against for a few days now, 6 of them to my understanding. The problem with that is he didn't usher this in. He didn't. We talked about this with the serial killer documentaries. Everybody's got a favorite serial killer. That's strange. Ted Bundy, while on trial, women were driving states away to come there to support him. How many women write mass murderers letters in jail, end up falling in love, get married, then get beat when the dude's on parole? I mean, like, how many times have we seen something like this? The fandom around these types of characters is not anywhere near new. It's just accelerated, like most problems that are not new today. It's accelerated because of a social media obsession on it. But I started thinking about it last night. I'm like, none of this is new. Like, literally, Ted Bundy was on trial for sexually assaulting and murdering women. And they were showing up like, oh my God, he is such a dreamboat. And it's because they hadn't seen what he had tweeted for.
The Stansberry Show. You're a very easy man to hate. On Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the program. When I joined you the first time this morning, we talked a little bit about some quarterbacks. Johnny Manziel's got a photo out there with his girlfriend, I believe Jose Canseco's daughter. And it ain't great. I wouldn't want this photo of me leaking out of my phone. I don't think I would. Neither would you. 9 a.m. But we also mentioned Deshaun Watson a little bit. There's a video of a social media post of him on a little viral. This started a little bit last night. Looks like a little bit of a vacation there with a better half, eating some pasta and the like. And people kind of losing their minds about it, and it comes off a little tone deaf, and it is a little tone deaf. Ben up early listening with us this morning as usual. Says, all right, Stansbury, he's like, hear me out on this, though. He said, let's say you're the quarterback for the Browns. All right, I like it. I like where we're at already, Ben. He said, and you watched the fans celebrate the moment you got hurt and your season ended. Would you care what those same fans thought at the other end of that? All right, so we'll get here at 9 o'clock, but let's just do it now, too. Yes, I think I would. And I think we know athletes do. We hear it all the time. Oh, no, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody, I don't care. Nobody, the lion doesn't care about sheep and blah, blah. And they all tweet the same goddamn BS Monday motivation crap. And then yet when somebody talks about them, man, do they sure know about it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they all got rabid. So I think, yeah, maybe I probably will. Beyond that, now look, I was on fans. Let's not celebrate injury, right? I was on fans about that, okay? But let's flip that coin over now. What a fan thinks, and not that I'm saying they're right, but like if what a fan thinks is, well, bro, you've kind of earned some of this, though, right? Like you haven't really shown a commitment to be all in. When you're on the field, it hasn't necessarily come out great. You know how I know? Because people like me had to go, well, he's 5-1 as a starter. Like we had to kind of like find a way to tell people, like, he's better than you think. It's like, now, did the eye test tell me? Like the eye, and so like I take your point, Ben, and I'm not out to try to argue. I think you know that. You and I have communicated plenty of times. I'm not out to necessarily start a fight with you, right? But and I get your point, but I think what the fans are going to say is like, well, bro, why did we cheer them? Like, notice plenty of people got hurt on that field over like the last 10 years of our fandom, 15, whatever it is, and you don't see a lot of that. It was you who saw that, and I think what a fan's going to say is a little bit of some of this is why some of this happens, right? And so it's like, you know, what's fair, what's not. We'll get there coming up at 9 o'clock. We are going to talk about some youth sports here, though. Dan Orlovsky, who works at ESPN, said youth sports are completely broken. And I've talked to plenty of parents whose kids are in travel baseball or like a little bit of soccer or whether it be football, whatever it is. And I've heard this plenty of times. Apparently, Dan Orlovsky at USA Today said this, quote, I think youth sports are completely broken. I think the emphasis on ego from the coaches has completely overwhelmed youth sports. I think the emphasis on winning and losing has completely overwhelmed youth sports. I think the lack of commitment to development has completely overwhelmed youth sports. That again, Dan Orlovsky. I believe he continues here. He does. Quote, obviously, there's a lot of money attached to it nowadays. We have lost sight of why kids play sports. He has a 9-year-old daughter, triplet sons, who apparently turned 13 later this month. He added, the unfortunate card that they got dealt is every game they go to, there's an expectation now. As a result, he's now speaking up for a program called All Pro Dad. And said, quote, probably being a dad for me is not even close to being the most important thing in my life. I don't think I was naturally born with elite dad skills, he said. Now he says he follows the tenets set forth by fatherhood programs, right? Which we could laugh at this, right? If we found out, what was it, Andrew Tate's program, right? Like, I mean, like all of a sudden, like who? But let's take a look at what the programs are, or what the tenets of this model are. 1, our parents give us a model, but we can be intentional about how we approach kids. 2, what do you need from me? Your sports experience isn't the same as your kids' sports experience. Quote, I asked my kids, what do you want from me to be your best? I have no clue, he said. Just because I played this sport doesn't mean I know how they feel about it. Yeah, a lot of people are going to feel like this is a little too new agey for them. Number 3 here. What was your favorite part of the game? We can't expect each kid's sports experiences to be the same either, he says. I have one kid who's not into sports. And he's made an exponentially better father than I could ever imagine. Made him a better father. Because he's forced me to get interested in things that I'm not naturally interested in. Now, look, I'm not a dad, and I've never... But somebody asked me this once. I'm a little anti-Marvel, right? Like, those movies aren't for me. They're probably good. It's just I don't give a damn about them, right? And somebody said to me, I was dating this woman who had this, young son, and they said to me, what are you going to do when he comes home and he's a big Marvel fan? And I said, turn on the TV, put on my Captain America t-shirt, look at him and go, ready, buddy, this is going to be awesome. Because it's about his life, not mine. That's what I would have done. I would have pretended I loved Captain America because that's what he liked. And when I got asked that question, I was like, what, are you like, and I don't think so. I was like, man, is somebody trying to put me in like a corner here? Because this isn't going to do it. Like, this is an easy way to wiggle out of this, right? And I did what Orlovsky's saying here. My brother was the sports guy. And because of that, I didn't want to do it. Because I thought, I was like, well, dude, David's better at all that stuff than I am. And he's got all the records, still does. And like, I'm going to pale in comparison. When I got to 9th grade, I remember like the high school football coach was like, you're going to play, right? Like, you're going to play, right? Your brother was amazing. You're going to play, right? And I'm like, nah, I ain't doing it, right? And I didn't want nothing to do with it. I wanted nothing to do with it. Now, there's the childhood trauma and showering with other boys is why, and I didn't play high school football because of that. I regret that. I wish I would have done that. For as much as I love that sport, I feel insane. But I was like, nah, man, you're not hurting me again. You know what I mean? Nah, you ain't doing it. And so, like, that kind of prohibited me. And I don't love that necessarily. So I wasn't into sports like that. My brother was that kid. He was also more naturally gifted at that than I was. And so David was like, he wanted to know about, well, the then Indians and Cavs and Browns and this and that. And I was like, dude, tell me more about Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, and Kiss, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those were my guys. Those were my wide receivers. David was like, this guy ran for 1,000 yards. I'm like, bro, this guy slept with 40,000. Like this. I was more into those guys. Dan Orlovsky continues, quote, winning and losing is for the kids. It's not for the adults and parents. Quote, I think what parents and coaches have done with youth sports, and I'm not saying this is for all of them, I obviously have not observed all of them. I think it's broken, he explained. Kids should be playing youth sports to be running around outside with their friends, and then it grows into learning what it's like to be on a team, and then it grows into learning what it means to be physically tough, then learning what it means to be mentally tough, and then learning what hard work is, then learning what commitment is, and learning what it takes to win rather than just winning. And all those steps along the way, Dan Orlovsky said. Yeah, I think too long we went too far into the winning and losing doesn't matter. It's a tough line, right? Because you are trying to teach kids life lessons. And so winning isn't the most important thing in the world. Yes, it is. But like, I know we can't do that. I know. Santa down the chimney, the whole thing. I get it. They're kids, right? Though I get it, right? So there's that. But at the same point, it's like, well, if we don't care about how we do it all, there's no point in the competing, right? Now, I know competition is bad and it creates toxic masculinity. Dude, people not raising their kids create those things. T-ball doesn't do it. Football doesn't do it. Basketball doesn't do it. Shooting the rifle at target practice doesn't do it. Not raising the kids is what does that. I think Dan Orlovsky's bringing up some decent points here. It says in this article he's offering up solutions, but this doesn't sound like a solution to me. This just sounds like a fresh reminder of like things that you and I already knew, but every now and again you need somebody else to tell you. You're like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's make sure we're staying up on top of that.
The Stansberry Show.
Hey, we're listening to him. He must be doing something right.
On Rock 106.9.
A little later in the show, probably in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll take a look at the fact that more and more of you are trying to put yourself in airplane mode. Not your cell phone, yourself. This is all about how in the airport you kind of see it's like people kind of view the airport as like a lawless land, where people just pretend that time just time doesn't exist, right? Because people will drink at weird times at the airport and they'll do this and they'll eat something that maybe wouldn't normally eat for breakfast. And it's like, I remind people, it's like, well, that's because of what the airport is. People are going in and out of other time zones and the like. Right? So it might not be 6 a.m. for them. Right? It's one of those things. It's like sometimes people forget. It's like that's the building where everybody goes to move to other places, to travel around a little. So yes, you were going to see people at different parts of their day time, month, year, whatever, but more and more of us going into airplane mode. It is a little interesting. This month does that. Right? Like it kind of puts you into screw it. I'll just do whatever I want. December kind of feels like that. Somebody once said this to me, and I really like this, that December is the Friday of months, and that is for sure true. And then once you start to get towards the end of December, you start to feel like, all right, man, is anybody paying attention to anything, right? It kind of gets like that. Now, and I understand. In this business, it starts to really thin out the closer you get towards the holiday. Air talent's probably in the building, everybody else not so much, right? We kind of do our shows and then like, all right, the 20th, see you guys later, time to go, time to take our break. Now I'm taking mine at the end of this week because I have nothing to do all year, and so I save all of mine for the end of the year. But like the offices normally will start to thin out there a little bit. And I was literally just telling, somebody, one of my engineers yesterday. Which, by the way, as a guy who complains constantly, they gave me all new lights in my studio. So let there be light. I can now see. It's been over a month since I was able to see in here outside of like studio monitor lights. So like that is kind of nice to be able to see you again. But I was telling him while they were in there, I said, man, I just kind of feel like I got senioritis. Right? Like, I've taken the finals, tests are done, I know what the grades are. Woohoo! School's out, man! Like, there's just a little bit of that on me. I can't lie. So apparently more and more people going into airplane mode. We'll talk about that a little. We were talking about Dan Orlovsky recently. He's got, I think it's 4 kids, triplet sons, and a daughter as well. He's talking about how youth sports is broken. And he starts talking about the ego of the coaches and a lot of this. And, you know, I didn't really play sports as a kid a whole lot. I wanted to. There was, we talked about it. There's a little bit of a disconnect for me. My brother was the natural athlete. My family, different thing. Dan Orlovsky kind of feels like the ego